Hey, how's it going, guys? Domino Paris 21 here, and back again with yet another deck profile for you all. So of course the deck I have to present to you guys is my Baden Dragger Spike Brother deck. Though of course with the release of set 10 in English finally among us, Spike Brothers has finally got its long-awaited upgrade that it's been deserving for some time now. Because with the release of Baden Dragger alone, it does spring Spike Brothers back up to its high competitive tier status that it once was. Especially when Emperor was first released, of course Spike Brothers was definitely a very highly competitive deck. But as the game kept changing, with new sets continuously coming out, and the meta kept changing, and cross rides and such, Spike Brothers really had a tougher time competing. But of course, with the release of Baden Dragger, now it has, not only that it can take on the meta, it is part of the meta. So definitely very excited for this card, and definitely the Baden Dragger itself will be devastating a lot of opponents in a lot of future tournaments. So definitely an amazing card. So yeah, without further ado, let's actually get to it. So of course for your starters, you have your Mecha Trainer. Really no changes here, just a nice good classic starter for the clan. He is an exact Conroe clone, of course, as we all know, and as I always say with Conroe, he's one of the best starters of the game just for how consistent he is. Same thing with Mecha Trainer. And Spike Brother does have a few good grade 1s to tutor into as well, which you'll see later on. Now moving on to grade 3s, of course, you have your Baden Draggers, which of course is the crazy break ride for the deck. So what he does, if you don't know, is limit break 4 when a Spike Brother rides on top of him. Vanguard gets plus 10k, and you gain the ability for the rest of the turn of all your rear guards in the front row gain plus 10k when they attack, and then they go in the bottom of the deck and they end a turn. Now of course with Baden Dragger, he's best of course to combo with your Dudley Emperor. So essentially, combining him with Dudley Emperor, with the right setup, you can fire off 5 huge attacks at your opponent, and really for the most part, under most situations, when you break ride Emperor over Baden Dragger and get off Emperor's limit break on top of the break ride, you're usually going to be going for game. So definitely a very devastating combo, and if not one of the best combos as of right now with the release of set 10. So these both synergize very well. Grateful Catapult, of course, is another boss grade 3 Spike Brother you can use for the deck. Being that Grateful Catapult is 11k base compared to Emperor's 10k base, but the fact that Grateful Catapult is a Persona Blast does kind of hurt with the deck's consistency. So Emperor is really the best card to use with Baden Dragger. And then last for the grade 3s, I am playing 2 Maximums. I think Maximum's a really good option for the deck, just because when you break ride with Baden Dragger, it allows your Maximum to hit for 26 by himself. So that's definitely very huge. And there are some nice little plays I like trying to do, especially late game when I'm pushing with Baden Dragger, which I'll go over in a little later for you guys. Now, one thing too, I only play 3 Baden Draggers just because I did pre-order 4, but I did forgot that I actually owed a friend a Baden Dragger, so I only have 3 right now because I forgot to pre-order another one. But 3 works out perfectly fine in the deck. I mean, as long as you mulligan correctly, you'll be able to open this well, and there's some cards in this deck that does help you get to them faster too, so you'll see that in one sec. Next up for grade 2s, you have of course your 4 Dudley Mason. It's a nice new support card released in set 10. So what he does is whenever he hits the Vanguard, you counterblast 1, put 1 card from your hand to the soul, and superior call a Spike Brother from your deck. So he essentially becomes a Dudley Dan for counterblast 1 if it hits. So he is the ideal turn 2 ride, just to guarantee to hit and try to help set up your field. He can be nice little pressure. He can pressure your opponent in the rear guard as well. And I do find that my opponents tend to attack him a lot, especially in the rear guard. So he's a nice little sponge too as well. So really nice, amazing card. And then of course you have your 4 Brakki. I mean, 4 Brakki, just an amazing card of course. If you don't know what he does, when he attacks, Soul Blast 1 gains +5. And then he goes back in the deck, so allows you to hit those nice big numbers with Baden Dragger. And then last but not least, you have your 3 Devil Summoner. Devil Summoner is a card that I really didn't like in older Spike Brother builds, but in the new Bad and Dragger build, definitely like him a lot. For Devil Summoner, what he does is whenever you place him on the field, you check the top card for a grade 1 or 2 and Superior call it. Now, he can be hit or miss in terms of his skill, but the whole idea with him is, you know, if you can open Mason, get off Mason's skill, a lot of times I usually just bring out the Devil Summoner to try and get the +1 and try to get a free card on my field. Especially if you go first, and usually if you go first and you're dealing with a 7k based Vanguard a lot of times, which is usually the base power for grade 1s that your opponent usually rides, Devil Summoner can still hit them unboosted even if you miss on the skills, so that's why it's not too bad. But really with Devil Summoner, the idea with Devil Summoner, of course, it allows you to try and gain a field. It allows you to try and fill up your field without sacrificing your hand too much. And what's nice with Devil Summoner, of course, is like if you can at least get a skill off once, I mean, you got the value out of him. So it's pretty good. So it's a nice good target for Dudley Mason, and it's a nice way to help try and get a field together without sacrificing too much. And with Bad and Dragger, pretty much anything you can call is pretty much good. So yeah, it's a really good solid grade 2 lineup. Grade 1s, you have your Wonder Boy. For Wonder Boy, I'd say if your deck is not stuck to a Legion, then definitely run 8Ks. Definitely good first turn ride, just to usually block your opponent's Vanguard with a 10k shield for no pass. Just because a lot of times, of course, your opponent, for most grade 1 that's written now, it's usually a 7k plus a 5k boost with their starter. So if they try to attack for 12, if they try to attack your Vanguard for 12 and you have this, I mean, you could try and block it for 10. It could definitely help you in the long run. And I mean, AKs are always solid and consistent. So yeah, definitely run 4 of those. Oop, drop the card. Fail on my part. Then you have 4 Reckless Express. Definitely a nice card as well. Good 7k booster. And he, of course, shares the same skill as Brakki. So when he attacks, he'll +1, gains +5, goes back in the deck. Of course, when you combine it with the Break Ride, he can hit for 22 by himself, which is definitely really nice. So a nice card to sneak. Definitely just a nice card overall. And plus the artwork is amazing, is always on this card. So definitely love it. Then you have, oop, hit the camera. Then you have your 3 Chirigo Marilyn. Definitely love this new artwork. Just because, I don't know, she looks a lot more attractive in this one. But 3 is really all you need. Just because, like, you're not, with this deck, you're not expected to last too long against your opponent, because you're supposed to be killing them within like 5 turns. Within 5 turns, especially with Bad and Dragger. Really with Marilyn, all you have to do is have 1 in your hand just to survive any onslaught your opponent may throw at you, such as like a crazy Gauntlet Buster play and such. And then you try to finish them off within the next turn or 2. Of course, with Mecha Trainer, you can guarantee to search 1, so you really don't need any more than that. So I even ran 3 in my previous Spike Brother build, so yeah, that's pretty much it for that. 2 Medical Managers. Medical Manager is still okay. I mean, I like him that he's a 7k booster. I mean, the extra soul charges you don't really need as much. I mean, there are times where I'm very aggressive with the soul blasting, especially early game, just to maybe try and help push some extra damage in at my opponent to try and kill him faster with Bad and Dragger. But Medical Manager is still pretty solid, of course, being the 7k boost that he is. And then last but not least, it's a nice little, this is a little tech card that I'm using. This is a Commander Gary Gannon. It was actually a card that was released in Extra Booster 3 at the same time as Dudley Emperor, but it wasn't really utilized as much. But he is an air mode clone, so whenever he boosts and it hits, you discard and draw. So what I like about this card is that it does help with consistency of the deck to, of course, either try and open Bad and Draggers as consistent as possible, or getting to your Emperor as consistently as possible. And of course, that's why I love Mecha Trainer, because Mecha Trainer, I'm always guaranteed to search for this guy. Now, of course, with Bad and Dragger, he does gain the +2 when boosted, so a lot of times people do like to use the Wonder Boy so that he can hit for 21. But I found out with testing that it's not that important necessarily. I mean, because like I said, once you break ride the Bad and Dragger, I mean, your opponent's going to have to deal with a lot anyway, so the last thing he's going to think about is the 21. But, I mean, hitting for 19 is not even that bad anyway, and if I can open with him, if I can even have him in my opening hand, I usually just put him behind a rear guard anyway, but he helps with consistency in the deck, so that's something that this deck can have problems with, is consistency, so that's what I really like about this card. So yep, that's it for grade 1s. And then the triggers are like the same. You have your, not much to talk about, 8 crit, 4 draw, 4 heal. I mean, not much more to say about that. I would run maybe more draws if Spike Brothers actually did get some, but they didn't, so that's a little too bad. But yeah, so there you have it, guys. So before I let you guys go, let me actually show you how the combo works real quick. Alright guys, so this is just going to give you guys a little bit of an example of how the final turn push with the Break Ride pretty much looks. Now we're just going to assume that we live in a perfect world where Eradicators and Kagero doesn't exist, so we can actually have a nice perfect field to demonstrate this with, and we're going to assume that our opponent is at 5 damage. So this is pretty much going to be the best case scenario, best case situation for us. So we're going to go ahead and Break Ride. So now our Vanguard gains plus 10,000, and for the rest of the turn, all of our front row attackers will gain plus 10,000. So we're going to go ahead and just call like 2 Masons. Now, we're going to say that our opponent's Vanguard is an 11k base Vanguard, which is what you're going to commonly see anyway. So we're going to go ahead and actually attack with the rear guards first, of course, boosted. So Mason with the plus 10,000, it's 19,000 plus the 7, this is going to be 26,000 each. So my opponent's going to have to drop 20,000 on each of these first 2 attacks alone, which is nuts. So go ahead and attack. This goes in the bottom of the deck for the Break Ride skill. Attack again, goes in the bottom of the deck. And then use Emperor skill. So you attack with Emperor. It's going to be for like 29,000, whatever. Opponent's going to probably perfect guard anyway. Use skill. And then this is why I like to play Maximums in the deck. Because now my opponent's going to have to deal with 2 26 attacks again. So that's why I like, with the Break Ride, Maximum attacks for 26,000 by himself, which is really nice. Because if I didn't play Maximums, of course, you would play Brakkis. But Brakkis only hit for, 24,000 each, which is still really good, but it's definitely not 26,000. So usually you would attack with the first 2 rear guards unboosted, which is 19,000, but it's usually an easy 10k block for your opponent. But the fact is that you're able to boost with your first 2 attacks, hit those nice magic numbers, and then still continue to hit those devastating numbers as well on top of that is definitely huge. I mean, a lot of people like to call this overkill, but it helps to better guarantee your victory, because there are times, especially when I was testing without the Maximums, where that extra 5k that I could have baited out for each attack, if would have made a huge difference. So that's the main reason why I like to play Maximums. But yeah, I mean, pretty much overall, your opponent's going to need about 8,000 shield to block both your the 4 rear guard attacks that I just showed you, and then they still have to deal with the 20, with your Vanguard swinging for a big number too. So pretty much, like I said, whenever you Break Ride Batten an Emperor and making a push like that, you're pretty much going to win. So it's pretty nuts. I mean, there's even times when my opponent hit a heal trigger at 6 damage, he still couldn't guard. So definitely a very scary combo. It's going to definitely devastate a lot of opponents in future tournaments. So yeah, overall, guys, that is my deck profile for Spike Brothers. Definitely hope you guys enjoyed that. Definitely leave a comment down below with any questions and such that you may have, and any suggestions you want to see, any matchups you want to see as well. So yeah, other than that, guys, thank you guys so much again for watching. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up on this video. That's always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Well, thanks again for watching again, and I will see you guys next time.